So related to the business models, in PowerEcon, we prepared some methodology to develop business models and also how to calculate the cost benefit and assess the viability of the projects. And I've tried to summarize here in this presentation both aspects, both concepts, and give some tips on how to do it. So first of all, explain what is or describe what is a business model. So business model is a tool. In fact, is a way of presenting in an easy to understand way, and the global vision of if a product, service, or energy community in this case is a good business idea, so it's profitable or not. Yeah, and mainly in economic terms. So it explains what it is, but also somehow finds out if you would invest on it or not compared to other possibilities. It describes, first of all, you need to describe, of course, what products or services, which in this case is the energy community, the service or the product, is competitive in the market, and also which customers you will have, or with partnerships you need, and more information. So if we see it in one overall picture, the energy community, the business model for energy communities could start or should start by presenting or describing what is it's so-called the value proposition. This is based on the business model canvas. There is a methodology for this. And of course, the value proposition is what the values and benefits you provide to the society and to the market in this case. And of course, this is an important question because energy communities is a very general description. We know, or we should know, that this is a legal form that should be constituted as association, cooperative, or some other legal form, and that can develop sustainable energy projects somehow, like renewable energies, but also other kind of projects. So the first thing we should describe is what is our energy community and what values will provide. Also define if these values are only economic or also we are trying to reach some social or environmental or other regional or local benefits. But sometimes, for example, in Ireland, energy communities are quite social oriented, and they, for example, renovate buildings for vulnerable people. And for example, other like renewable energy communities could be more lead to providing some economic revenues, for example, and get better cost for the electricity from the PV of the energy community. So first of all, you need to describe exactly what you would like to have as an energy community. And there can be many different models of energy communities. So energy communities described in 1 or 2 or 3 paragraphs, but the amount of different energy communities is wide. There are hundreds of different business models for an energy community. Then at the same time, this energy community is led or is aimed to provide benefits to a certain segment of citizens or customers. So depending on your specific energy community, you are focusing, for example, on a collective of a building, or you are aimed at a neighborhood or people of a municipality. You are involving or not the own municipality in the energy community. You are involving or not financiers. So the customer segments and the segments targeted is also an important issue. So each energy community is aimed at a different customer segment or groups of customer segments. Another point, so all these points is something you should describe in the business model, okay? In this business model, each one of them. The third one is the customer relationship and the channels. So this is how you will interact with these customers that you have defined. Okay, I speak in words of in economic terms. So customer is a neighbor, maybe is a family, but somehow in a business model it is a customer. A customer is someone who provides an income to the energy community in this case. So the one who will somehow benefit, but also they will get some benefit from the energy community. So these are customers. So it could be a municipality, municipal buildings, or could be a family, the customer. Okay. So which relationships there will be and with which channels? So how will you interact with your customers? Will you do, for example, conferences for them? Would you organize workshops? Would you email them? Would you, I don't know, whatever you will do to them? Okay, so this is customers and relationship with them, the channels. A very critical point are the revenue streams. So one of the first things, this is the fourth thing you should do, is to consider how you will get revenues. Because of course it's very easy to install a PV. You can put the money, you can invest, but then you need to recover that investment. So one of the first things in a business model is to understand how you will get the revenues, how you will get incomes to pay your investments and your operational costs. If there are no investments, then if there are no revenues, then there is no business model. You can finalize your business model. It's out, okay? Because not possible to pay your investment. Then once you have these four first issues, which is like the definition of the community and your customers and how you will get, how you will make it profitable, then you need to think about each one of the steps. So each one of the activities you need, like the plan you need to do to develop your business model. So I'm going to install a PV. I have defined a PV system. I'm going to share it with my neighbors. Then, okay, what are the steps? So which are the steps and the resources? So you should describe each one of the steps. For example, first of all, I need to dimension the PV system. And then I need to find also the place. First, find the place for the PV system. Second, dimension the PV system. Third, talk to the financiers who will pay for that. Four, make a conference to the people that will participate, etc., etc., etc. So you need to develop the steps, and each steps need resources. So you need to organize a conference for people. You need to, or you need your time from other people. You need money to pay for the room, whatever you need. Okay, so activities and resources linked to those activities. The next point is the key partners. Key partners are those partners that are outside your organization that are needed for your business model. So if you, for example, are going to provide, you're going to install different PV systems in neighborhood to provide it to the citizens, maybe you need to speak to the aggregators of the citizens. Or maybe you are going to speak one by one, but maybe there are association of citizens or something like this, and this could be a key partner. All the association of citizens that are aggregating these citizens, for example. Or maybe people who will finance your project are key partners as well. Or maybe installers are key partners. So key partners are all those organizations and groupings that are outside your organization, but you need them somehow, or they are beneficial for your business model. And this is sometimes critical, okay, and maybe accelerates also the process of the installation and everything needed for the community. Okay, next one, very important, the cost structure. So based on the point of the key resources and activities, so based on this point, where we defined activities and resources, then we need to put money on that. So if we are going to organize a conference, we need one person, 2 days to organize the conference. And then also we need a room and we need catering and we need this and that. Okay, we put this first in the key resources and then we put at the same time or in the side the costs of that. So one person, 1 day, that's 300 euros. Catering cost is 100 euros and room is 400 euros. So these are the costs for that activity. Okay, the cost structure. Okay. Governance and legal constitution. Please, if you have any question, please tell me. I don't know if you would like to ask something from this half of the. We are in the half of the business model now, half of the wheel. Everything is clear? Okay, then I go on. Then governance and legal constitution, this is very important. This is very, very important. So governance is how you will organize. So roles, and who participates in the community and which is the role of that. So the municipality participates or the energy agency participates. Okay, they participate and which is their role? The role is to organize the community. The role is to be a member or not of the community. The role is to put the money for investment. So the governance means who participate and for what. That would be the definition of governance in a very simple way. Who participates and for what. Okay? And this is how you will, for example, who will put the money. Okay, then there's a bank. Okay, they will put the money for the investment. Okay, or the people. How will people participate? Okay, so it's not only who participate, but what is their role. Maybe you do crowdfunding, so people can be also so beneficiaries and financiers, for example. Okay? This is the governance. And legal constitution means that according to the European directives, each energy community has to have a legal form. So which is the legal form? So you should define legal form. And for this, you need, of course, to describe the statutes or the the legal document that explains what is that legal form. Can be a cooperative, can be an association, can be a public company, sorry, a social company, can be a foundation. So you need to have a legal form for the energy community. Okay, next point, which is interesting, and this is different around Europe, is the regulation. So what is the regulation? Which regulation supports your energy community, and which regulation is a barrier for your energy community? And this is also very important. You can send the energy to within a transformer. You can send the energy to 2,000 meters or 10,000 meters, like in France, or you can not send the energy anywhere, like in Ireland, etc. I mean, you can send it, but you have to pay for the grid fee. Of course, you can send it, and you're in the market, you can do it. But as Christiane mentioned, in principle, the idea is that we don't have to pay retailers to share this electricity. So that is a basis for the energy community. Try not to pay the grid fee. Okay, this is the because if you have to pay for the grid fee, it will be very difficult to compete with the larger operators of the market. Okay, because your installation will be small and the cost will be larger than for a large installation of a large operator. Okay. Okay. Then you need to calculate, of course, the potential energy production and savings. So depending if you produce renewables or you are focusing on other energy efficiency projects, you need to calculate what is the potential energy production. So as we saw in the examples from Slovenia, for example, they install 110 kilowatts, and then they produce it an amount of 100,000 something, 140,000, I think, kilowatt hours per year. So you need to be able to calculate that, because in fact that will go to the revenues. Okay, so that will be somehow the revenues. Or you produce renewables, or you get efficiency, and that will give you the benefits. Okay. Then environmental impacts also, you can calculate them. You can use ratios, for example, CO2 ratio. Okay, so some amount of CO2 reduction ratio times the renewable produced, that will be somehow tons of CO2 you reduce, or same with energy efficiency. Typically, the government or some organizations provide you ratios. Okay, ratio means so much CO2 reduction per kilowatt hour produced, or some amount of CO2 reduction for energy saving, kilowatt saved in a efficiency project. Then you can use these ratios and just multiply it. Okay. Social impact, this is also relevant. Will you involve vulnerable consumers or not? Or will you work in vulnerable neighborhoods, or you will somehow involve people with social exclusion? This is also relevant. So this also can be in the value proposition. I mean, sometimes the energy community is focused only on them. So some projects here in Spain, we are developing projects only in neighborhoods which the homes are social homes. And then these people are vulnerable people, and we focus on them to provide them with somehow an amount of free electricity. Okay? And finally, the roadmap. So the roadmap is somehow a plan and schedule. So once you have all the information, that you can somehow prepare a first schedule for big numbers, not a very tight and deep schedule, but I mean at least some milestones on what are you going to do and when. Because if there's no schedule, no roadmap, then will be a paper in your room, and nobody will do anything. So you need to say, okay, by next month, we need to have the design of the PV. In 3 months' time, we need to have the engineering prepared. In another 6 months, we need the installation done, etc., etc., etc. So the schedule and milestones of your activities. Okay. Okay, any questions for that? Or this is clear? I mean, you will have this presentation, no, Ingo? We will share all the presentation, so you will have all this information. Okay.
Of course, I think this is very important that, yeah, we share this.
And it's recorded, so you will have all the information. Okay.
It is currently recorded, yes. So, of course, please go on.
Okay, then we have an example in a summary of this business model. This will be an executive summary in one page of a business model. And a business model is something I would say simple or executive. It's not a business plan, something long with a lot of information. This is to have a first picture if this is profitable or this is viable or not. So this is an example, a summary of a business model of an energy community in Spain, in Madrid. in a city close to Madrid, in Rivas. So in this case, we have a municipality with 100,000 inhabitants. And we are going to constitute an energy community in the form of association. So we are creating in fact, we did it. So this was before, and now we have the association created. So the energy community is just created in October. And investment is still under study. Okay, we don't know who will be the investors, but we think that maybe some neighbors will put part of the money, and maybe we have some ethical bank probably. Okay, members in this community will be mainly or practically all will be families. So we will go for residential. That is the target for us. So no direct participation as a member of the association of the municipality, and maybe we could involve some shops. So small players only. We expect to start a first project with 100 of them, but the idea is to reach 1,000 homes by 2030. So this is the schedule. Okay, we will work mainly with PV. So we are finding now the PV roofs. We have some families which already have PV, so they would like to share this electricity, but also we will install more PV and some EV chargers in the communities, in the neighborhoods. So we are scheduling to have by 2030 at least 1 megawatt. So we are slowly now starting, and we hope we have 1 megawatt by 2030. Well, environmental benefits are related to the megawatt hours per year produced, so 200 tons reduced per year. We are going to give 5% of the energy free for vulnerable families. So all the vulnerable families participating will have an amount of electricity free. And also the existing PV installations, because some families already have PV, will participate exchanging their electricity as well. So Ingo, you have a question.
Exactly. Regarding these vulnerable families, are they more or less coming openly to let's say the energy community? Because I have doubts that you just knock on the door of a house and say, "Hello, you are a vulnerable family, and you are a lucky vulnerable family because you will get some energy for free or for a low price." So how is this done?
Well, here the strong effort from our side has been to through the ECTO and with the municipality to prepare many workshops and conferences and invite any family to come to these workshops and conferences. So we are inviting them to come. We organize small workshops or small training or small conferences, and we explain about the interest of installing in the municipality PV and using renewables, locally produced renewables. And we don't ask vulnerable families, please come here. No, they come by their own. So all families come, and also vulnerable families. So, and we explain. Then when we are there, we explain we are going to do this. So there are one family more of the group. We are not blaming them or something like this. It's okay. You come, okay. Then you participate like one more, and then if we know you are vulnerable, then we explain to you that you will get free energy.
Okay, thank you.
I think this is also important to make them feel same than the others. So
yes, absolutely.
So you're not, you're not something. I mean, you are special, but not in a bad sense. You are special in a good sense. So we are trying to make you feel like you are one family more. We are trying to help you, and of course, they also provide interesting opinions on how because with a little energy we can do a lot. So that's a good point. They can do a lot, and sometimes they need energy for heating or this kind of things, so we can think when to give them the energy. So sometimes they don't need a lot, but in some certain moments they need this energy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, investments in Spain is approximately if we add small installations, we expect from 10 kilowatts to 30 more or less, many of them, because we'll be in homes and some other buildings, and the cost will be approximately 1,200. Because they are larger, they could be reduced, this investment, but we calculate about 1,200,000 euros for the 1 megawatt, and revenues approximately 300,000 euros per year, with 80,000 operational costs per year. So basically the revenues will be 220,000 against the 1.2 million. Payback is approximately 7 years without any subsidy or public funding. Okay, this is without any funding. We can apply for some public funding probably to get about 30%, and if so, we will do it to the special programs from the national ministry. So by next year, we expect that, well, the energy community should be created, is already created. So this is all now, is created in October this year. And we expect to have a first set of installations by the after summer next year. And well, continue installing them. Another comments here is that the municipality would like to is creating like a supportive structure for energy communities. So we are supporting the municipality, and they are not within, so they are not members of the energy communities, but they are like a global energy community providing services or advice to the energy communities. So they provide places to make the meetings, conferences, training, etc., etc. So Escan and them, we are together supporting the energy communities for free, let's say, without cost. Okay, very quickly to the, sorry, questions? Any question? Not so far, okay. And then very quickly, because we are now more or less on the time, the financing part. Okay, so basically, the challenges for financing is in energy communities is sometimes is that energy communities can do many kind of different projects, and also the energy community are different models of energy communities, so there's no one financing model. So it's not like one model for financing PV only, but there are different models of energy communities, and communities can do different kind of projects. So this is a barrier for the financing. Also, because the financing organizations don't know what is an energy community. So when you go to a bank and you say, we are an energy community and we would like to invest in PV, they don't know what are you talking about. They don't know what is an energy community. So the first thing is to explain to banks and financing organizations what are energy communities. And if you explain to them that there is an association, which is an energy community, maybe it's easier for them to understand what is it. Okay, about financing, I will go very, very quickly because we have seen this in the previous slides from myself and other partners. You should consider, of course, the investment cost, the initial, so the investment project, okay, to define the investment project. And then you have an investment cost, which is basically this one here. So if it's a PV system, you have panels, inverter structure, boxes and smart meters, etc. So you have an investment cost, but also you should consider the installation cost, of course. So if you only consider the cost of the equipment is not correct, you need to know about the installation cost. And then if you add investment and installation cost, maybe this could be somehow the turnkey project cost altogether, so project installed. But also you need to consider other initial costs, which are usually engineering costs. If you are going to install in a roof, maybe you need to calculate load weight, so if the roof can stand the weight of the PV panels. Not always, because constructions already have these studies done, and they should often they should stand for this weight, but sometimes you need to do it, particularly in windy places and some other situations, or a lot of snow and so on, because the weight increases. Taxes, of course, maybe you have a construction tax. Here in Spain is approximately 4%. Sometimes this is reduced at the same time because it's a renewable system. So you have to check if this is you have a reduction on the task, other municipal task, and sometimes the insurance, okay, cost. So calculate approximately at least 5% of all the initial costs at least, and that will be a good start. So these are the costs. Then you have the initial cost, then you have the yearly cost, so the operational costs, which basically for a PV system is more a kind of maintenance cost. And sometimes the management, so the control system and management system to view the production, etc. So, well, I will calculate this as a 3% could be for PV systems, 3% of the investment cost. If you can see the example in Slovenia was approximately 2.6, 2.7%. Okay, the yearly cost, so 3%, the most 5%, okay, at the most the operational cost, but you should consider them. So you when you have some revenues and benefits, you should reduce the operational cost, okay? So every year you have some revenues, incomes, but you have to reduce, so minus this operational cost, okay? Then sometimes if you have a loan, you have to repay the loan, so you have to pay back the money. So this could be a cost as well. So maybe you don't have a full investment cost at the year number one. You have you only pay 20%, and then you ask for 80%, and you have to pay this 80% plus the interest cost. Okay, so you have to pay a certain amount to the bank, like when you buy a house with a bank, okay, with a mortgage, similar. Okay, and maybe you have to do the repayment costs, and sometimes you have other financial costs. For example, when you open a mortgage or you open a credit line or a credit line, you need to pay some kind of bank commission, like 2%, for example, of the money you ask for. So you consider the year number 1, the year number 0, that you ask money to the bank, you have to pay an amount to the bank just for asking the money. Okay, like a 2% for the study they do and for the opening of this loan. Okay, this is important because sometimes we don't consider all this, and then when we start the project, suddenly we find other costs unexpected, and this can be a problem. But okay. Then the revenues, as I mentioned, they come or for the risk production or for the energy efficiency. For the risk production is quite easy, is the amount of energy you produced, okay? And then depending on if you sell it to the market, like in Ireland, or if you have a feed-in tariff, like in Italy, or so depending on what you do with this energy, you somehow get some benefit, okay? You have to calculate it, what is the benefit you get per year. Then if it's energy efficiency, the benefit is the energy saved. So the amount of energy saved at the cost of that energy. For example, if we save 75% of energy of this, and the cost of electricity is 200 euros per megawatt hour, then you calculate like this. Okay, so this is the consumption, these are the savings, and this is the cost of electricity. Then you calculate the benefits you get. Okay. And sometimes you get some subsidy, public subsidy. I put it in the revenues because frequently you don't get it at the start. So I prefer to put it like a revenue or something you get after 1 year more than that you put it at the year number 0. So you have to put the full investment at the start, and then sometime later on you will get the money from the government. This is important because if you tell the people we have to pay 100,000 euros, but we get a 30% of subsidy, then they will think, okay, we have to pay only 70,000. But it's not true. They have to put the 100,000 at the start, and 1 year later they will get the 30,000 back. So the money has to be there at the year number 0. Okay, so all these economic issues are very important to put them when you need to pay and when you get the incomes. Okay. So it's better to put it like, okay, we will get it afterwards, and then we get a benefit afterwards from this subsidy. Well, about to finalize the financing methods, this is something also quite interesting because many people and companies think that there are few options for financing these community projects, but in fact, it is not. There are many. So, of course, you can pay it at the start with your own money, this upfront investment. So we are 100 people in the community. We have to pay 100,000 euros. Okay, 1,000 euro per family. This could be the way to pay the installation. But also you can get a bank loan. If you get a bank loan, of course, you have to pay some interest, and some money for the opening of the loan. So you pay more at the end, but you get the money, a certain amount, a certain percentage. This is also important. Typically, banks won't give you 100%, will give you 60%, 70%, depending. Okay. Also, the PPA is a possibility, but here the risk is that the investor in PPAs want to be usually the owners of the installation. So here there is the risk that you have to negotiate with them how to do it. Okay, PPA means that someone comes to you, they do the installation, they do the investment, and you pay a certain amount for the electricity they produce. So I am a PPA, for example, provider. I go to, for example, to Bulgaria and say, okay, you want to install in this building, I will do the installation, I will put the investment, and I will give you electricity for your building at 100 euros per megawatt hour, for example. So you only pay me an amount of money per megawatt hour. You don't need to take care of anything else. I do everything, and you only pay an amount. And we define this price based on the investment cost and also on the time also that the contract will last. So if the contract is longer, the price is lower. So if you allow me to be there like 10 years or 15 years, then I can put a better price if I'm 15 years, for example, than 10. Because I have longer time to pay the investment and longer time to be there with some benefits. Okay, that's PPA. ESCO or energy service contracting are services typically for buildings or for street lighting systems, where also a company puts the money, does the installation, and the customer pays an amount. So it's somehow similar to PPA. PPA is more for PV or for renewables, and ESCO is more usually for any efficiency projects, but it's similar. For example, I have a building, I want to renovate, okay, then, or I have a street light, this is very typical. I have a street light and then I want to renovate for LED, but LED, but I don't have money to pay that. I am a municipality, so a company comes, does the investment, put the LED, and then from the savings of the LED, gets the benefits and pays for the investment, and they are there for a number of years. And of course, the benefits are shared between the investor, the ESCO, and the municipality. So if we install an ESCO and I'm there for 10 years and I have a savings of 60%, maybe the ESCO gets the equivalent of the 40% of the savings and the municipality of the 20%, because the ESCO has to pay for the investment. So somehow part of that is to pay the investment cost, which is 100% of the ESCO, okay? Crowdfunding, I think you know what crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is based typically on digital platforms. There are digital platforms for crowdfunding. So you trust in these platforms, then that's the point. You have to trust in the platform. So you have to have a good crowdfunding provider. And then they open like it's similar to a bank. They open a place where people can put the money and get a certain benefit from that money. Typically, they assess the projects. So it's not that they open it and you put the money there and nobody takes care. Is the crowdfunding platform, there's someone behind that says, okay, which is the project? Give me the information. I will assess if it is viable, and if it's viable, then we open the platform so people can put the money. And typically, they ask the promoters to put a first amount of money. So it's not for, typically, it's not for 100%. It's for 60, 70, 80%. So the promoters of the project somehow take part of the risk of that project. Okay, that is crowdfunding. But crowdfunding is typically for projects where people can put a small amount of money, from 100 euros to 1,000 euros, 2,000 euros, this kind of amounts of money. Okay, and of course the platform, the crowdfunding platform, gets some money from that. So they get some. You have to pay for that crowdfunding platform. But it's all digital. It's all based on internet, and of course you need to know first who are these crowdfunding providers, because this is very it's in the cloud, so you don't know a lot about what is going on there. And renting and leasing, this is maybe known by cars. So in the car, this is something you can, like when you have a renting or leasing for a car, is that the car is not yours until you pay the last fee, and then it typically, it's like you rent it basically. You rent the car. Here you can do the same. You can rent an installation and somehow pay an amount for this renting of the installation. Okay. So as you can see, there are many ways, and of course I have missed some of them here, but here it is a good picture of what's going on. And finally, some parameters, financing parameters. When we assess a project, we calculate basically some of these or most of these parameters. Simple payback, investment divided by the payback, by the revenues of the, well, not revenue, cash flow of the year number one. Okay, so cash with the investment is, for example, 100,000 euros, 100,000, and revenues are 10,000, then 100,000, 10,000, payback is 10 years. As simple as that, simple payback, okay? Internal return rate means is a percentage, and is the percentage that a bank should give to you to have the same revenues that your investment project, which means that if I put a PV system and the internal return rate, this is calculated with Excel, so it's simple. So if I have an internal return rate of 10%, it means that if I have this money and I invest in PV, I get a 10%. If I put the money in the bank should give me more than 10% to put the money in the bank instead of investing in the PV. Okay, so I have 100,000 euros again, and then I go to the bank, and the bank gives me for the next years 4%, let's say, or 3%, okay, of that, if I leave the money to them. But if I put the money in the PV system, then I get maybe an internal return rate of 11%, 12%, 13%. So typically, this is better for PV than for the bank. So it means that I can take the decision of installing the PV. Okay, this is good when you have several possibilities. You have 100, you have, for example, 10,000 euros, and you can decide what to do. Put it in a PV, put it in the bank, do a efficiency project, change the street lights, or which is the best. Then you can use this parameter to decide which is the most profitable. And net present value, what gives you is, this is in euros or in your currency, and what it gives you is the amount of money of all the cash flows in the next years that you get. So, and at the price of the money of today. Okay, I will explain this a little bit. So, when you do an investment, you pay you usually pay something at the start, and you have cash flows for the year number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cash flow means the revenue you get. Okay, in principle should be positive. Maybe some years it's not positive, but should be positive. So you put investment first, which is maybe minus 100,000 euros, and then each year you get some revenues. For example, you produce with PV, you get, for example, 10,000 euros. So you have minus 100,000, and then plus 10,000, plus 10,000, plus 10,000, etc., etc. Okay, so you can calculate the net present value for 25 years, which is the life of the PV system, for example, and then this figure gives you adds all the figures of all those years, but considers the cost of the money of each year, because the cost of the money of today of 10,000 euros, next year this 10,000 euros will be like 9,700, for example, because the inflation. So next year the same money than today is less, and in 2 years' time 10,000 euros will be similar to now 9,500, for example, etc., etc. So after 25 years, 10,000 euros maybe is 7,000, for example, because the money is, you can do less with that money. So net present value calculates all the figures, so adds all the figures of the 25 years, for example, but considering the price of the money as for today. So with that, you can know, or you can calculate what will be the benefits for you if you do that project. And similar to the situation, to the internal return rate, you can calculate net present value for different projects. So you can do a project of PV here, another project over there, another project of efficiency somewhere else, and then calculate which is the best. Okay? And return over investment is somehow is a percentage as well, and are the revenues obtained versus the investment, which is another figure that you can see there. Okay, and I think, yeah, well, I think this is the most important. So this was all for myself. I think there's a lot of information here, but you will have it, so you can, if you're interested, you can recheck the video to better understand what's here, and also you can ask me anytime if you